want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Madmen of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Good day, Madmen Mafia. And Kirk is still doing technical things, so we'll bring him in a second because he's having technical difficulties. Sometimes these things happen. So Kirk will be here in a second, but today, once again, we've got a banger. We are going to delve into the realms of men's health, but not just heart health or brain health, but a little lower, little south of the border. We're going for men's sexual health. We'll put it that way. And because Kirk and I are laymen and knuckleheads and don't really know as much about that other than our own experience, we brought in an expert.
Go ahead.
Mr. Elliot Justin is in the house from Firm Technology. Before the show started, Elliot was telling us that they have researched 200,000 men's yes. And so this man is the expert of experts when it comes to men's sexual health. And so we had to have him on the show because we are men. We are the madmen. We do want to promote sexual health for men. And hopefully we'll get Kirk back in here a second. Is he here? Is he back? Are you back? Are you live? Are you working? No, he's still working on it. So, Mr. Elliot, thank you so much for coming in. And first question, I mean, it's got to be asked. How did you even get into this work?
Well, it takes a special kind of man to get into this area.
I
will go back to the very beginning. I don't know many other doctors whose mothers had to take them to see the urologist several times as a teenager because they were concerned about their masturbation habit. So she thought it was excessive. I thought it was normal. And here I am, a doctor. So, Mom, you were wrong. I've always been, I've always been particularly interested in sex. And when I went to medical school, frankly, most doctors aren't. The first day of medical school, I looked around, thought, these are not my people. So I went to the medical library before Jason, you probably in diapers at the time, but before computers and things of that nature, they had this thing called the Index Medicus. It came out every year, and it was like on the screen I can't even stretch across. There's several volumes, and it listed alphabetically every paper that was published in the last year around the world. I went for the A volume. I was interested in aphrodisiacs. There wasn't exactly a line of doctors, medical students behind me clamoring for that volume, trying to grab it from my hands. And it was, frankly, the same kind of stuff that doesn't work today. Horny goatweed, macaroon, afangadawanda, yohimbe, it had all these herbal things. And I was disappointed. There were no secret aphrodisiacs. They were hiding from the lay people. The doctors didn't know anything about it. So, and of course, I tried all those supplements, and they didn't work. But years passed, and I live in Montana, north of you guys. I own some fairly frisky mares that are kind of like living dirt bikes. And my wife who's in the room right now, she says that I ride like a 15-year-old. That's totally unfair. I ride at least like a 25-year-old, but I do ride kind of fecklessly, and some do good. I live next door to Paradise Valley. It's the next valley over. Paradise Valley really does exist. Shh, don't tell anyone about it. But it was a beautiful sunny day, and I was in a great mood, moving rather fast, and some do-gooder had cut a tree that had fallen over the trail, so you could walk underneath it, but you couldn't ride underneath it. And I was looking off to the side. I was moving around probably around 35 miles per hour, came around a curve, and I took that tree right on my chest. I think I shattered that tree into pieces, but I also broke 6 ribs and 6 vertebrae. And then I performed what I call the cock-up sign. So for any men listening to this show, I've been trying to educate men about this for decades. The cock-up sign, if you think you've injured your spinal cord, like you guys in Colorado, skiing or on a motorcycle, if you can cock your big toe back, you'll be able to urinate, defecate, and fornicate the big three. Might be in a lot of pain, but it's going to be okay. Anyway, I was lying on the ground there and it got me thinking, what's been done to rehabilitate men who've had spinal cord injuries? And there were 6 papers in the medical literature. And it's always amused me that we call it the medical literature, because literature is mostly literature is fiction. And most medical studies are kind of fiction, as we all should have learned by now with COVID. That 6-foot distancing thing and the mask, there was never any evidence for that.
Comment,
no matter what they
no
said.
comment.
So anyway, there were these 6 papers, and they talked about neuromodulating human sexuality. So people don't necessarily know what neuromodulation is, but a lot of people know what cardiac pacemaking is. But basically implanting an electrode in the right atrium of the heart, we can make the heart beat after you're dead. So these papers claim that they were able to place an electrode by the pudendal nerve and the cavernous nerve, everyone's 2 favorite nerves no one's ever heard about. But the nerves that come out from underneath the pubic bone, and they're responsible for arousal and climax in men and women. And I thought, wow, got to try that out. So we tested it on 2 rams, 2 male sheep, and we got weak erection. We did get ejaculation, but we also got urination, defecation. So it wasn't exactly bedroom friendly. Maybe if you're in San Francisco or LA or New York City or city, there might be some neighborhood where this works, but it wasn't bedroom friendly. And ordinarily, what someone would do at that point is they would raise a bunch of money, California or New York, and you go off to Nigeria or Brazil and test it out on 15, 25 guys with ED. Instead, I had a University of California, San Francisco professor try it on me. I went to his private surgery clinic in San Jose, and we implanted an electrode by my cavernous nerve, pudendal nerves. Tried all sorts of different amplitudes, frequencies, voltages. I felt nothing other than tingle, and I thought, we don't really know how erections occur. In terms of everything in the body should be electricity. My wife insists it's Aphrodite. Maybe she's right. I don't know. I should have gotten an erection, and then I didn't by stimulating these nerves. I called it Project O for obvious reasons, and I couldn't get it published because negative studies almost never get published. But I did talk about it with people I was working with. I later on, I started out in emergency medicine, but ended up in at that stage of my career, this would be about 4 or 5 years ago, ended up in consulting, trying to connect the doctor with a device idea but doesn't know how to bring it to market. The engineers who want to overbuild the product and spend too much money, and the investors who want to bring it to market before you've done the necessary research in order to get regulatory approval, et cetera. So a university professor, a urology professor at the University of Utah, heard about this and said he wanted to work with me. He's contacted me and said, Elliot, I've heard about Project O. What I want to do is come up with a way of counting the number of nocturnal erections that men have. Because why? And I said, WTF? Why do we care about this? And he said, because they're a leading indicator of man's cardiovascular and sexual health. And that kind of took me back, because we know about morning wood and we laugh about it, but one ain't enough. And he told me that if a healthy man's, if his number of nocturnal erections come down by 50%, he has a close to 50% chance in the next 2 or 3 years of having a significant cardiovascular problem, angina, heart attack, things of that nature. And that kind of took me back, because this would be another vital sign. After all, what do men care more about? Their blood pressure or the last 2 or 3 erections? That's a rhetorical question. We're all men here. We all know what men care the most about.
We know.
Right. And we all know that a man mentally is only as good as his last 2 or 3. After that, he probably should be allowed to drive a car or own a gun. So this doctor was what I call, like most straight doctors, I don't know if I can use this word, but let's call it erection ring or C ring. You know what I'm talking about. He's what I call a C ring virgin, meaning that he never played around with these things. And I have. I'm fortunate to be married to someone who's into sex toys. And by the way, if any men listen to the show who are young and not married, you want to marry someone who's into sex toys. That should be one of your top criteria for getting married.
Put that on the list.
Yeah, put that definitely high up. So my thought was to embed sensors into an erection ring, and not just assess nocturnal erections, which we do, but also sex erections, because those are the ones that interest men the most. And as a former emergency medicine doctor, I can tell you that short of a heart attack or a stroke, there are a few things that concern a man as much as a limp So
You know, it makes more sense now, because when I first saw your bio and it said firm tech, that could go a lot of different directions, but now it makes a lot more sense. Now it makes a lot more sense.
yeah,
It's not a tech firm; it's a firm tech. Okay,
right. Because it's multi-purpose, which actually surprised me, because you know. But let me talk about the data first. Like, I got into the data, then we can talk about the functionality. But we now have documented over 200,000 erections on over 4,000 men. We have the largest erection database in the world, and that data has shown things that are changing the way in which erectile dysfunction is diagnosed and treated. So one of the problems in medicine, and not just with sexual health, but with high blood pressure, elevated liver proteins, the academic doctors who see the sickest people in their practice and write the papers, often with very numbers that are too small, but they project from the sickest people onto the general population, and that's a mistake. So when it comes to high blood pressure and elevated liver proteins, people who have severely high blood pressure or elevated cholesterol, they've got a problem. But what the money makers want is to treat people in the gray zone, people with borderline, because that's the majority of people. So when it comes to sexual health in men, the International Society for Sexual Medicine has misdefined it, and I'm at war with the idea of erectile dysfunction, because most guys out there, for listening, you don't have dysfunction, you got a problem, and I'll explain. So the first part of the definition is inability or struggles to achieve an erection. If any men have that problem on a consistent basis, I don't mean because you got drunk and you're sleeping with a stranger. I mean on a consistent basis. If you struggle to get an erection or can't achieve an erection, you got a huge problem, and you need to see a cardiologist and urologist. And I know we've had several men utilizing our technology who ended up getting cardiac catheterizations because their data was so poor. And there's been a couple of young guys, 2 guys under the age of 30. One guy had an adrenal tumor, wasn't producing hormones, and the other guy was suppressing his testosterone because he was taking anabolic steroids, illegal ones for bodybuilding. And at the other extreme, we've had 2 men who are going to get 3 men, excuse me, who are going to get penile implants, but actually they had good nocturnal erections. Their problem was in their head. So one overnight, the device counts the number of nocturnal erections, the duration, firmness. Jason, how old are you?
50.
You should be having 4. Kirk, how old are you?
53.
You look younger than him. I don't know. I was going to guess late.
Oh, that's because black don't crack and brown don't frown and hey, and I want to come right back to that. Unfortunately we got to go to a break here, but I want to kind of come back to exactly where you are right now in terms of the statistics and those kind of numbers, because again, this is stuff that guys don't normally talk about, and we got to be willing to get into that area.
I'll talk about the data and what's normal and what's the questions that men should ask themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Talk about that, right? Come back.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Mad Men of Masculinity on KLDC.
I'm having fun so far. Hope you guys are.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be one of those episodes that we're gonna get a lot of comments, and I didn't know that, and I need to who's this guy and where can I get him, and we'll probably have to have you back on to answer a bunch of questions, because
sure,
there's gonna be a lot of guys like, I didn't know that.
And then so I got kicked off right when we started here, and then now when I joined back, for some reason my audio is messed up, so I don't know if I'm assuming you guys can hear me. I hear like a ticking or something on my side, but I don't know. I don't know if that's just whatever, something going on my end or what.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the cord on his microphone or what. I heard the ticking too.
Sorry, I don't hear it because it's me.
Oh,
so
yeah,
no,
that's awesome. But yeah, either way, this is definitely going to be. Yeah, we have not talked about this, and guys, just in general, don't talk about this kind of stuff.
Well, that's because they're being shamed with ED, and they don't have ED, and I'll get to that. I'll first talk about the questions that guys should ask themselves, and then I'll talk about. I want to continue with the second half of the definition of ED, which
we'll come right back to that.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. And we're back. Mad Men of Masculinity, KLDC. Man, we're talking about this is stuff that guys don't talk about.
The real stuff. The real stuff.
We talk about stuff that guys don't talk about that you probably won't hear too many other places, whether it be radio, whether it be podcast of fear, all these other kind of stuff. Elliot, man, thank you so much. I mean, you're a freaking doctor of all things, and so thank you for making us look smarter.
And harder. Smarter and harder.
Smarter and harder. There you go. I like this guy, man. He's right on. So let's jump right back into this thing, man. So you were talking about the definition of ED, and so continue on that thought if you can pick it up.
So we got to the first half, which is difficulty obtaining or inability to obtain erection. That's 12 to 13% of men. They got a cardiac problem or diabetic, and then they need to see a doctor. But the vast majority of men, second half definition is difficulty maintaining an erection. Well, physiologically, this is a totally different group. One group isn't getting blood in. The heart's not pumping enough blood, or the arteries that go from the heart to the penis are narrower due to diabetes, hypertension, or atherosclerosis. So they're not getting enough blood in. And the pills work a little bit for them. The pills put a little more blood in, but the pills don't keep it there. But the vast majority of men who are labeled as having ED, and I hate that phrase because it's shaming, and as you just discussed, guys don't want to talk about it. It's embarrassing. What guys do, guys don't even talk about it with their doctors. What they do is they go online, they get pills, and if you go to, whether you go to Get Row or Hims, wherever guys are going, there's a questionnaire, and they want to sell you a product. They're not really trying to figure out, why do you have this problem? So here's a question that guys need to ask. So I get an erection, I'll lose it. Well, am I losing the erection because I drank too much? Maybe I shouldn't have smoked that entire joint. Maybe dancing until 2 o'clock in the morning was a mistake. Or maybe I find this position to be boring that my wife likes. Or maybe I'm cheating on my wife. Or maybe I drank too much. Or you're taking medications that we doctors prescribe that make it harder for you to maintain erection. With certain antihypertensives, beta blockers, and the SRE antidepressants, those are erection killers, as are some of the sleeping medicines. It could be multifactorial. Man, baby crying next room. I'm worried about paying the mortgage. But if a guy is getting an erection, he's getting blood in. Now, it's important to try to figure out why you're losing it. But if you're getting blood in, therapy should be directed at keeping blood in. And the pills don't do that. The pills put a little more blood in, take a pill, but they don't keep it in. And the answer is an erection ring. Now and I didn't understand this until our data, because the expectation of the world famous urologist advisory board was that as men, the incidence of erectile dysfunction goes up 10% per decade after age 50. It's 50% by your guys' age, and I'm 73. It's really high by my age. But is it really ED? Because if it can be, because so the expectation was that as men age, the number of nocturnal erections will come down, the firmness nocturnal erection will come down, and the firmness of sex erection will come down. That's what I expected from the data. So if men are reporting more ED, but they're staying just as hard, because that's what the data shows. If you exclude the guys with serious heart problems, men are staying just as hard in their 60s as guys in their 30s until like the late 60s and early 70s. And then it starts to taper off, but not enough that guys can't perform. So what's going on? Why are guys reporting more ED? Because we misdefined it. Because guys get erection and lose it. That's not ED. Men, I call it fading erections of aging, and it's normal. You don't have a problem. Yeah, take a pill, but what you really do is put a ring on it. Women have vibrators, and men need to open their minds about rings. And part of the problem with rings is, big problem, is that these rings you get in a sex toy store, these O-rings, they pinch, they're uncomfortable, they're not safe to wear for more than 20, 30 minutes. You got to have an erection first, and then you slide the ring down, and then you want it off because it's choking. You're lynching your penis with a ring, and that's not very comfortable. So I got into this for the data, but in order to assess erections overnight, I had to reinvent the C ring. Why? Because it can't be worn overnight. So our rings are not made out of hard silicone. They're made out of elastomers. They're made out of a softer, more comfortable material. So our rings allow the arterial blood to flow in, and they only constrain the venous return. So they will prolong nocturnal erections by about 3 to 5 minutes, but they will make a sex erection. They will increased the duration of erections by over 10 minutes after climax. And in our American study, it was like 4 minutes. That's a game changer for men. So men need to open their minds about it. One of the jokes we have at like the American Urology Association conference or International Sexual Medicine conferences is that you can tell the difference between a straight man and a gay man, or a doctor rather, is with one question. Do you use an erection ring? Do you use a C ring? The straight doctor is like Superman and Kryptonite. Oh, I don't need that. I'm good. Gay doctor is like, yeah, like right away last night. Are you an idiot? Of course I do. What's your problem? You got a better one. So men need to change their minds. The ring, there are 2 studies now, haven't been published yet, showing that the ring is as effective, if not more effective, than tadalafil, 10 milligrams of Cialis. Well, guys, put a ring on it. Let her take a knee and put a ring on it. Put a ring on it, and that's really powerful.
I mean, this is kind of stuff that, I mean, we were talking about it during the break too. Guys just don't talk about, but it's especially as we age, and you're totally right. Like I was just getting blood work through the VA to check all my lipids and all my stuff, and all my numbers are great except for my lipids or something. And then I was trying to get the testosterone because that starts to fall,
Sure.
and you notice the difference. But having something like this, or even having the awareness of something like this, and educating men on it, because I think a lot of men would just, like you said, get online, probably not get the right cure for it or the right fix, when they could be using something that actually records, actually monitors, and helps them all at the same time. I think what you've got is almost like a one-stop shop kind of cure thing,
Well,
or at least
you don't even know what the dose is. So think about high blood pressure or heart arrhythmia. Sorry to interrupt you, Jason, but
yeah, no worries.
all 3 of us, we're different ages. Kirk is different race. We're different physical conditions. We take different medications. But if we went to a doctor, all of us right now, and said, "Gee, doc, when I work out at the gym, my heart pounds and my pulse is irregular. I think I have high blood pressure and a heart arrhythmia." And the doctor said, "Gee, Jason and Kirk, that's really interesting. Take these 2 pills and come back in 6 months." We would think, WTF, how about checking my blood pressure? Do you got blood pressure cuff here? How about getting an electrocardiogram, maybe a cardiac echo? Let's get some blood tests. But when it comes to men's sexual health, the approach is take a pill. We know what the right dose is. And I know from using our technology that if I take 10 of Cialis, I increase my nocturnal erections duration by about 10 minutes. And they go in firmness from a 4.5 to 5 to 6 to a 7, which is healthy. On the hand, if I take 20, I get no more benefit because I can use technology to figure out what's the right dose. So why? But it's really it's really disturbing. And then when it comes to other things that are recommended for men, testosterone, well, what's the right dose? I can actually, with when I take care of men with low T, can actually, because the dose is, both you guys, if you're low T or borderline low T, and you might be, what is your free T, Jason? We don't know the right dose for you to improve your sexual and cardiovascular health is probably different to both of you because we have different amounts of testosterone receptors. It's just not just about chasing a number. And when I take care of men with testosterone, well, here's the way the game works. The doctor has to diagnose. I'm of Medicare age. I'm 73 years old. So if I go to the doctor, and he needs to diagnose me as being hypogonadal, me and my testes aren't working that well, in order to just get paid by Medicare, get the 4 visits a year, and so I can get my testosterone at a reduced cost from Medicare. But I'm not really hypogonadal on my number. I might be borderline below average, but not really. So then he has to ask 3 questions, and I got to answer these questions the right way. By the way, guys, if you're out there, this is how you scan the system. Here are the 3 questions. How's your energy? I'm actually a high energy person, but if I can answer the question this way, my energy is not what it was 10, 15 years ago. How's your sleep? Well, I'd still like to sleep another hour. How's your libido? Frankly, I don't even know what libido means. But of course, I answered. Well, I'm certain my libido was not what it was when I was your age or 30 years old. So I want my libido back. And if I answer all those 3 questions the right way, he now gets paid. I get my medication at a reduced dose. He diagnoses me, checks a box as hypogonadal, but I'm not really. And it's wrong. It's the whole system is screwed. The whole medical system is screwed up because we doctors are encouraged, induced to lie on the electronic health record. So, but then the dose of testosterone he chooses is like high average for my age. Well, I want to be optimized. I want to be the top 10th or 15th percentile. I don't want to be. I want he'd be happy if my free T was at 10. I want my free T to be 25 to 30. So when it comes to libido, the question I ask people is, how often a week are you initiating sex, and what's your goal? Now, obviously, if Kirk told me his goal is 30 times a week, I'd say, Kirk, can't do that for you. But if Kirk were low T, and I have guys who in the 40s were low T, he would say, gee, doc, I'm initiating sex once a week or every other week, and I want to be where I was in my 30s. And we can then target his free T to get to that point, and that usually takes a free T in the 25 to 30 range, not in the 10 range. So the power of technology to objectively hack your health is strong, and we all want to take ourselves into this 21st century of objective, data-driven, most important, personal care. We all, in science, we talk about N. N's the number of study subjects. We all are an N of one, and we're all different. And the way in which men are being treated by the healthcare system is stupid.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Doc. I this actually brought this up in the first segment, and it's really sticking in my head, and I don't want to forget it. But what kind of a doctor should is this I think you mentioned cardiologist. I think you said urologist, not neurologist. But so is it a urologist that a guy should go see?
Yeah, but you're likely to be disappointed. I just described to you my experience with my local Medicare urologist. He didn't ask any. The questions that he asked weren't particularly the questions that the machine wants him to ask. But the key question that a doctor or a man should ask themselves is my problem getting up, or is my problem keeping it up? If my problem is keeping it up, can I identify the reasons why? Because it could be it's often just alcohol, but but men should get their data, and the only way to get your data right now is with our technology in the United States. There is a device in the United Kingdom called the Atom that gets your nocturnal data, but our device can also get your data during sex. I mean, you should be on a 1 to 10 firmness scale with our device. You should be a 9 to a 10.
So to be clear, to be clear, the answer is a urologist. That is in this study. Okay, cool. I wanted to get that in for this break here because I know I'll forget it if I didn't.
Write that down.
Write that down. So yeah, that's that's a good place for a break here. Let's take a pause for the cause or a stiff for the if. Since I'm trying to keep with the theme here, I just made that up. We'll be right back. Madmen of Masculinity on KLDC.
Cool.
Awesome. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, it's.
Guys just like I said. Guys just don't even. We don't even talk about this stuff to even know like who to go see for what. Yeah. There's the stigma, and a lot of guys don't even have like just a regular doctor that they go get physicals with on an annual basis. But then even beyond that, it's like the specialist people that specialize in different things. Like we don't even know what who does what or what kind of a doctor does this, does that. And all that kind of
here's part of the problem too is that the average urologist spends 7 minutes with a person. The average family doctor spends 10 to 11 minutes. That ain't enough time to take. A good sexual history takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Because the most common story that I hear from men is, and men your guys' age is, I go to bed with my wife, my girlfriend. I get hard. I go down on her because that's how she comes. And then I'm half hard, and she's in her post-orgasmic state. She's not paying attention to me, and she wants me to penetrate her out of the doggy style or missionary position, and I lose it. I'm just not because I'm not hard enough. And the man says I start putting off having sex, and she is irritated with me because I'm not giving her what she wants. Because the truth is, I've spoken to with 200 men in the last couple of years. Men, your age, my age, penetrative sex is not the be all or end all for us the way it was when we're 25 years old. I'd rather, I'd rather get it. My wife is, I'd rather have her use her hand or her mouth because why? Because it's the brain attached to this, and the amount of stimulation will be variable as opposed to the vagina, which is just a tunnel.
Yeah. Man, that's man, you're right. It definitely changes. All right, let's keep going.
But hang on, but I mean, before we get back on, because I got to ask questions that need to be on the break. So, a break question. Because like I've been going through, I was on TRT, spending $250 a month, and of course, I was trying to get my testosterone up as high as like my 20s, and then of course that was too expensive. Then I found out through the VA if I was below 300, they would provide it, but I didn't realize how much it fluctuates naturally. Because I had one test, it was 298. Then my next test was 400 something, and it was after like the day after sex, and then the next one was like. And I think I've been going to gym too. So it's like all these different variables affect all these different things.
They do. It varies by time of day. And also you need to be injecting it 2 to 3 times a week. You want to break up the dose 2 or 3 times a week so you don't get fluctuation. Jason, if you were my patient, off the bat, I know I need to keep you above 650 to 700. But my goal is to get your free T in the 25 to 30 range to optimize it. And I've got guys.
This is good stuff, man. Golly, this is man. All this stuff is just. Let's come back and talk about the hormone thing, and I mean because that's huge. I'm on TRT myself. So
and what's your free T?
Man, I knew you were going to ask that, and I don't remember because I haven't gotten them checked in a while. I'm due. Matter of fact, I have a physical like here in a couple of weeks, but yeah, I just don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm definitely due. And now that I know, these are things that I need to ask.
Yeah, and if you want me, when you get your results, feel free to contact me. I'm happy to help you.
Oh, shoot, yeah, man. No doubt. All right, let's
sure.
let's
bring it back.
All right. We are back, man. I'm telling you, this is one of them ones, man. This is one of them. This is one of them ones that you need to go on YouTube. You need to go on Facebook. You need to go on Pod. You need to hear all the in between stuff because we just went off on a whole tangent in the break, and so much so that we're gonna try to even come back to that this topic as part of this whole big picture now. And so Doc, a lot of guys out there, especially our age, have considered or looking into or heard about or maybe even doing hormone replacement therapy, specifically testosterone therapy. And can you talk a little bit about how testosterone plays into this whole equation?
Sure. Well, testosterone is the key, not just to your sexual health, but to your overall health. Optimizing your testosterone will improve your mood. If you're moody, it will improve your. I've got guys who's thinking. They say that thinking clears up. Hard to quantify that though. It certainly is essential for your heart health. If you as you get older, even guys as young as you guys in your 50s, you're going to start wasting muscle. It's just part of getting older. So you want to optimize your T, and you need to optimize your T in order, for sexual function. But it's not like you take T and your erectile just, if you have ED, goes away. Again, I want to emphasize: if you struggle to get an erection, or can't take an erection, see a doctor. On the other hand, if your problem is you get erections and you lose them faster because you're getting older, that's normal. It's not ED. Look, I'll give you 2 examples. Jason, Kirk, remember when you were 12 years old, you hold a girl's hand for like 10 minutes, you got a hard on for an hour and a half? That doesn't happen anymore. And it's multifactorial, but one of the reasons is that blood leaves your penis faster as you get older. It's called venous leak. It's called the fading erections, aging. And if your T is low, it can help. And personally, for me, I take T from my muscles because I'm still having sex pretty much every day with my wife and with myself. I recommend that to everyone, by the way. You got to keep those. Way
to drop that brag in there, man.
You can't. You can't improve.
You just suddenly drop that in there. I'm 73 and I get it every day with my wife. Yeah, I mean,
I'll write.
Well, now we have the bar to shoot for.
But look, I don't run as fast as I did when I was 30, but we don't call that running dysfunction. Why do we saddle men with the shaming term? Hey, you got EG. No, I don't. I'm just getting older. And a ring is helpful. But in terms of testosterone, about 3 years ago, just because I got involved in this field, I started talking to my friends. Like pretty much everyone knew over the age of 60, 65 was taking testosterone, and I said, well, I need to try that. And I spoke to my advisory board, these famous urologists. So what do you think is going to happen? And they said, well, we expect that your number of nocturnals might increase, but it was I'm already above average there. That your nocturnal erections are going to last longer, be firmer. And there was a slight improvement with it, but not really statistically significant. But what I did notice is that with about 8 weeks later, I was bench pressing more weight than before and curling more weight, and that was without trying. My exercise routine is when I'm not wildly riding horses. Exercise routine is I go to the gym 3 times a week and I work out with a trainer. I work out 50 minutes, but I wasn't specifically trying to gain pecs or biceps. Although I recommend and before you start testosterone, put a tape measure around your bicep and around your pecs, and if you're optimizing the testosterone and you are doing resistance training, you should see a 5 to 15% increase in your upper body strength. So I went from bench pressing my body weight to bench pressing 30, 40 pounds beyond my body weight, and I wasn't pushing it. And the same thing with curls. My curl set would like, I do 3 sets because I'm a guy. You got to work your curls. I got some biceps, and you guys probably might be stronger than me, but I went from my set ending at 40 pounds. Now my setting at 55 pounds in like 10 weeks, and I kind of backed off on that because my old joints are starting to hurt. But so I just kind of stopped about 50 right now. But that was an objective demonstration of the benefit of testosterone for me. But for guys I'm treating who are low T, low sexual initiative, I can quantify the improvement in their sexual performance with the ring. Go ahead.
Yeah, not to make this all about me, but I mean, I just pulled my scores up, and I'm like at 12.2 after the last blood test of free testosterone.
You got to be
And
higher,
I would
man.
like that to be much higher than that. And I agree with you because when I was doing TRT, I put on muscle almost for the first time in my life, like the way I wanted to. I used to be able to get strong, but didn't like put on muscle when I was younger. I used to joke and say I had like Bruce Lee muscles. They're small, but they're strong. But once I was doing testosterone, I actually started putting it on. But then, of course, $250 a month plus all the other bills and everything else, sometimes it's hard to maintain. But it's something that, I mean, it does definitely benefit.
Yeah, with a VA, it should be much less.
Well, the VA, but of course, they're very strict on the number. It has to be below 300 total and all this other stuff for them to even look at it because they're not really that concerned with veterans and their testosterone health and stuff. So the only time they'll consider is if you're basically flatlining.
You should be able to get it for about 100 a month, but you want to get your free T above 20. You want to get the free T probably in 25 to 30 range, and that's where you stop to optimize. I've got men. Well, I'm in that range, and I only to keep my T around 750 to 800. I have gotten my T up to 1200 to 1300 just to see what would happen, and I didn't. At some point, you saturate your receptors. You're not going to gain any more muscle. Around 1200, I become an asshole. I tell my wife to shut the fuck. I tell my wife to shut up. You can blip that out. But it's and there are endocrinologists who claim that I'm this guy named Nico Misla. He's really famous. He has a big podcast thing. He's a real expert, but he claims, as does one of the most famous urologists in the world, Dr. Mohit Kara at Baylor, that you can go really, really high, and there are no side effects. And they're probably the side effects that people were afraid of was damaging your heart, getting prostate cancer, and I don't think you have to worry about those things. I mean, the data is saying it's benign, but when they claim there's no mood impact, the study that they referred to was like 25 guys, in the 1990s. I know that I know. I get that I'm short-tempered, and men that I take care of, report the same thing. So I keep myself around 800. But Jason, but your good number might be 600. Your good number might be 1,000. I don't know. Yeah. But because you want to optimize your free T. It's all about your free T, as opposed to your total T. And Medicare does not pay for the free T, If you're if you're if you're like more than 600 with your total T, I have to pay for that.
Wow.
Gotcha. Wow. But ultimately, you are saying that testosterone is part of the equation in terms of, I'm not going to say erectile dysfunction. I'm going to say erectile function, whatever that whole thing is.
Proper function.
Kirk, I like to call it erectile fitness.
Fitness. There you go.
Because
There you go. I like that.
We're a fitness focused, culture, and we are all men on the road from erectile fitness to erectile dysfunction. And we don't know where the heck we are in that road because we don't have a dashboard. So crashes and breakdowns occur because we don't know where we are. And what the tech ring does is give men a dashboard. And ideally, of course, it signals a problem before it happens. And if you do have a problem, it gives you a dashboard of data where you can say, okay, I don't like this. I want to reverse course. I should be having 4 nocturnal erections. I'm only having 2. My nocturnal erection should be. Really, the questions guys should ask themselves. And you can't ask yourself these questions unless you have data. Guys, is the average duration of your nocturnal erections 35 minutes or more? Well, you don't know. To guys, are you having 3+ to 4 nocturnal erections per night? But you don't know. Guys, are your sex erections all like a 9 to a 9+ in firmness? Because they should be, but you don't know. So these are the questions that men should ask themselves. And the question that men should ask themselves about erection rings that we're talking about before is, I'll ask you guys, Jason, Kirk, do you guys use erection rings?
Never have.
So you're both straight. So
Apparently.
Let's get to it. So
Very much.
Ask these following questions. Would you like to get harder than you are right now?
Sure, why not?
You mean at this moment?
Yeah, definitely.
We might be a little weird, but yeah.
At this moment, I'm about to 0 because I'm looking at you two on the screen.
Hey.
Anyway, using our ring and adjusting it for comfortable tightness, I gained about 3 to 4 millimeters in girth. Well, no one's going to walk by and say, "Oh man, porn star, look at him," but that's more blood than I can get with vaginal, manual, oral stimulation. So you're getting hard. You're holding more blood in your penis. Do you want to last longer? We'd all would like to last longer. When we want to last longer, do you want to be more confident? Meaning, oh, Kirk, Jason, you can have that second or third cocktail and not worry about losing it. You can stay up a little bit later, dance a little bit longer. You can have just had a fight with your wife a few hours earlier, and once you get hard, you can stay in hard. So we all want to be more confident. We all want our partners, female or male, to be more confident. What does my wife like so much about the ring? And why do we use it all the time? Why? Several reasons. One, she's more confident in me. She knows that with minimal stimulation, I'm going to stay hard, because in a good marriage, the woman comes first, right, guys? Yeah. And
sure,
she knows that if she irritates me while we're having sex, because what do women do? There's several things that guys complain about that women do that men don't want to tell their wives. One,
they talk.
And he says women talking is the problem. Yeah. So,
well, I'm gonna say talk, not good talking. I'm talking about talking about something that ain't.
You got it.
About
No, it's not. It's not about. Well, Kirk, you're awesome, man. No, it's like here's a problem I had at work today. Here's something kids.
Not right now. Busy.
I spoke to. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I spoke to my mother today. So I'm going to tell you an anecdote, because when I first came up with the form for the maximum performance ring, which we specifically designed to enhance male performance, it was February in Montana a couple of years ago, and in the middle of sex, my wife, and we're both turned on. My wife says to me, "Oh, I left the garage door open. Well, it's snowing outside." Now, there isn't a marriage in the world where the woman jumps out of bed, gets dressed, closes the garage door, and comes back ready for sex. That ain't happening.
Mm-hmm.
And if I told my wife, "You close the garage door," which I felt like telling her, that would have been the end. Now, ordinarily for me, that type of comment from my wife would have been I'll try to observe the SEC limits here. There would have been a WTF moment. It would have been and instead, I go downstairs. The garage door is open, and there's snow in the garage. but she left the rear door of her car open because she probably bring in the groceries. Now I come inside, and she calls down to me, Elliot, you know that tequila I like, and you put some on ice for me? Pause, and don't forget the lime. Now that would have been the big explosion for me. I'm a guy. Would have been, what the blank?
Yeah.
We're not. It ain't happening tonight. And I'm pissed off. Matter of fact, I don't even want to sleep with you. But I come up the stairs, and I'm like 80% hard because I got the ring on. And my wife says, the garage door was the truth, but the tequila was a test. Because I did not lose my erection. And as we all know in this show, a man who has an erection thinks very differently than a man who's lost his erection.
Yeah,
very much
blood.
Very much.
Speaking of only so much blood, we only got so much time, so we're gonna have to take ourselves our third break. We're gonna come back
I got to tell about the fifth reason why men should use a ring.
We'll do that.
As soon as we come back, we're not going to wait till the very end. As soon as we come back, we want to find out how to get a hold of you in this ring. As soon as we get back. All right, we'll be right back. Mad Men and Masculinity on KLDC.
Yeah, we all want to have an alpha cock, and
dude, yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's
That is pretty funny that she's like, that was a test.
Because the other two things that men don't want, I know from talking to guys, the men don't want to tell their wives that the ring helps with is one, boredom. Look, I've been married for this is our 38th year, and we got a happy marriage, but there are certain positions that bore me. Now, if the goddess Aphrodite walked in here right now and bent over in front of me, be like, "Hey guys, I'm gone." But there's if you've done something that several thousand times, that's a problem. But the ring changes that, because you're hard, and like I said before, a guy with, hey, I'm hard, okay, I can get into this. If I'm not worried about losing my erection. And the last thing is friction. Yeah. Men need friction. If you want to come during penetrative sex, that's why most older men prefer a hand or a mouth. They're getting the friction that they need. Yeah. But if and I like coming during penetrative sex sometimes, and my wife likes it too. So but the problem is she's had 3 kids. She's 72 years old. I don't get the friction that I want. You're not. You get what I'm talking about. It just gets worse as it gets older. So the ring again compensates for the change in friction.
Yeah. Boom. So let me make sure I got the website right. It's myfirmtech.com.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we've got our own referral code, Madmen, for I think it's 15% off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're gonna bring that up, but then he's also gonna type that into the comments here.
Yeah, and I do want to explain to men why a well-designed ring will give them a more intense orgasm.
Yeah, boom. Absolutely. Let's bring back to it.
Yep. Your boys are back, man.
Back. This is a good one. Oh my god,
this is a good one. I'll be honest with you. I was kind of, I don't know, when we were getting on here, man, I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go, man. I don't know, man. But man, I'm telling you, this is
FCC radio and everything. We're like, how are we gonna talk about this? And
man, I would love to have a follow-up conversation to this at another time, Doc, if we can get you back on.
Yeah, we're setting an appointment right now.
Yeah, for real. So speaking of this, Doc, how can folks A, get a hold of you, find you, and then B, get a hold of your technology? Because I'm about to, as soon as we hang up here, I'm about to dial. I'm about to type up something. I'm logging into something.
Well, you can find us at myfirmtech, MyFirmtech, myfirmtech.com. And you can reach me at Elliot at myfirmtech.com. I'm trying to make men's sexual health objective. I recognize that lovemaking has a big subjective component. And certainly one of the mistakes that a lot of men think is, I should get up with everyone. Well, you can't. And that's, and men who are honest with themselves, and by the time they're late 20s, realize that, and it's kind of a mystery. How come I got up with her so easily, and with her, like, it's just, the mind is, the mind gets involved. But I'm not addressing I want to compensate for the mind with a ring, but I want men to recognize that if they want to optimize their performance, put a ring on it, and find out your free tea too while you're at it.
Yeah.
But I just having come up with a medical aid to help with the diagnosis and management of sexual health. And I really want to avoid the word dysfunction because I don't think most guys you're not dysfunctional. You just got a problem. But the ring, we also designed the maximum performance ring, and you can achieve the same effect with tech ring, to put the right amount of pressure over the urethra to produce a more intense orgasm. So you don't want to choke off the urethra. You don't want to choke off the ejaculation. But if you put the right amount of pressure over it and prolong it, that's more intense orgasm. So if you told me 4 or 5 years ago, hey, Dr. Justin, you're going to spend the rest of your career talking about the benefit of erections, I would have said, no way. I'm good. I don't need one. I'm good. But now I understand it's not about good. It's that you want to be great. So we designed we tested the maximum performance ring on 28 men in Montana. Granted, not men in Colorado. I not about maybe you guys are different, but the 28 men age 28 to age 70. I was the oldest person in the test group 3 years ago. To put the right amount of pressure over the urethra to draw out the ejaculatory phase by 50%. So my ejaculatory phase goes from 4 seconds to 7 seconds, and that's an incredible orgasm. I just suddenly discover it at age 70. Wow, we guys all think we're connoisseurs of our erections because we started masturbating when we're 12 years old. But to suddenly have this like, oh wow, that is awesome. I don't, and my wife likes it because among other reasons, one, she's more confident in me. Two, I'm noisy for the first time.
Nice.
And she likes that. And so that is and she jokes that she's glad the kids are out of the house because it's anyway. So I don't have sex without a ring now.
Yeah.
And
this is definitely the least creepiest conversation with an old white guy about sex I've ever had in my life.
I don't want to be out here about the creepy
I'm not freaked out. Like I get it.
Don't worry. He's talking about me. He's talking about me. I'm the line stepper. I always make it creepy, but yeah.
But I mean, these conversations, like I said, man, not only do we not talk about these things, but just, I mean, and quite honestly, one of my biggest takeaways, even from this conversation, just the idea of just the term we use. And you're right, man, the dysfunction versus fitness, man, that's a huge paradigm shift and takes away some of the stigma. I mean, because and almost all of us at some point have consumed pornography, and we're not porn stars, and we're not, and quite honestly, a lot of that is production, right? So that's not even real. But we can set ourselves up as mentally as I should be performing like that. And it's just not realistic, especially when we get older, especially when we get into our 40s and 50s. Things just change, man. I mean, sometimes, I mean, things just change. And so these conversations are just just paradigm shifting.
Porn. I mean, look, I like porn, but the average guy watches porn 70 minutes a week. How long do women spend shopping per week on the web? But
on Temu and Amazon.
But I'm gonna poke fun at some white guys here just to amuse you, Kirk. So I live here. I'm up here in Bozeman, Montana. It's pretty much all white here except for some American Indians. And back in when our daughter was in high school, and I'm a really good cook. If you come visit, I'll cook you a meal. I'm a really good cook. So I was cooking for her and some of her girlfriends, and they're like juniors and seniors in high school, and they're complaining about how the boys at Bozeman High School have small penises. And eventually, I got kind of fed up with this, and I said, "Okay, look, ladies, the boys at Bozeman High School have average penises. And by the way, I'm looking around you girls. I don't see a C cup in the group here. So you guys, the boys at Bozeman High School, I'm thinking you girls are all flat chested. But
right.
We additionally erectile dysfunction, we men get saddled with a lot of negative terms dumped on us. We got porn addiction. Well, I've got guys who come to me, patients and customers, like, well, my wife has me in therapy because I'm porn addicted. No, porn addiction would be like, I'm talking to you guys right now, and meanwhile, I got another computer screen over here with some, I'll pick on Kirk again, with some beautiful ebony lady with Jimmy Choo high heels on, walking on white guy's chest. That's porn addiction. That's out of control. But most guys are not porn addicted. They just they go to porn because they it's fantasy. They go to porn because their wife doesn't want to love to them every day. And once a week ain't enough. I hate that phrase. Another one I hate is toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
What about toxic?
Our
We never
least
talk.
favorite.
We never get to talk about toxic femininity. And then
We
there's
do sometimes.
We have. Yes, we have.
and the other one I really dislike is the death grip. The notion that guys who masturbate get addicted to their hand and becomes a death grip. Well, how come if my wife's hand is a love grip and my hand's a death grip? I don't get that. That doesn't make sense to me. So I like to your point, Kirk. I like focusing on fitness. We want to maintain your fitness. We need data to help us maintain our fitness. In general, you want to be in good cardiovascular health, because if you get winded after a few thrusts, it is embarrassing. You don't want to be overweight. You don't want to be just eating junk food. Smoking cigarettes is going to affect your sexual health. You want to optimize your testosterone and put a ring on it.
Yeah,
And you know, put a ring on you too.
Yeah, just put a ring on it, because and again, the reason why that resonates to me so much. So I do go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week in the gym itself, and I don't look over at the guy that's 25 years old, bench pressing twice as much as I am and just crushing it more than I am. I don't look at that with any kind of real envy or shame or guilt, anything. I'm like, dude, if I was that age, I'd be able to do that. I mean, it's kind of relative compared, but at the same time, for a 53-year-old dude, I like to think I'm, at least holding my own moment, right? I mean, so it's just a mental shift to get us out.
Here's a mental thing, because Bozeman's a really fit town. It's a sports or outdoor oriented town, and I go to a gym where a lot of really fit guys go. These guys come to me. Several of these guys have low T. They don't know it yet, but a lot of these guys complain to me about how in their marriage they're only having sex 2 or 3 times a month because of work, because of the kids, because of money, whatever it is, and they go out and date night and they drink too much and they end up not having sex. These guys, if you're going to the gym 12, 15 hours a week, or 10 plus hours a week, and you're not having sex with your wife, with your partner, you need to plan for pleasure. You screwed up your life. You need to get with your partner and say, I'm not going to go to the gym as much. I'm going to take 3 or 4 hours out of that gym time, and we're going to make love for 3 or 4 hours, because we need to get back into the habit and get the benefits. And what are the benefits? A lot of benefits. If you have sex every day, you can cut your cortisol level, your stress hormone level by up to 50%. If you have sex every day, study on men in their 70s, big study out of the United Kingdom, men who have sex 3 times a week, as opposed to less than twice a month, who are over the age of 70, cut their risk of sudden cardiac death by 50%. Now, you're going to die anyway, but we doctors should be prescribing sex. And let's talk. And people who are have frequent sex with their partners are happier. They parent better. They're less likely to get divorced. The divorce rate is, I mean, yes, people can successfully single parent, but we all know the children of a divorce are more likely to do drugs, drink to excess, not finish high school, not finish college. They earn less money. Well, we should be the government. My fantasy government would be the governor coming out and saying, "Hey, we want to save money on Medicaid, on jails, and on rehab programs. We want everyone in Colorado and Montana to have sex, aspire to have sex once a day, starting today. Do it for the.
I would back that bill. Huh? I would vote for that one.
Yeah, do it for the cause. Do it for the big people.
The
other thing is that men in relationships, men in marriage, we aren't empowered or encouraged also to ask for what we want and what we need sexually from our partners, from our wives. Like, it's taboo for a man to say, like, hey, I need this from you. I like this. I prefer this. I want this. And, to advocate for ourselves in terms of, I need you to turn me on as well, kind of thing.
Well,
I like the fact that you brought up fitness, because I think that is the term and maybe the caveat that we can use as men, especially in our relationships. Like, we're working on our marriage fitness, we're working on our physical fitness,
we're
working on all these things.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that is so true, man. I mean, as opposed to put a negative connotation to all that stuff, fitness is a journey, right?
Yeah, I mean, you sit at your desk 8 hours, 10 hours a day, and you don't say I'm dysfunctional. You say I'm unfit because I'm sitting here and I'm sedentary. So this dysfunctional label, we need to get rid of that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, you sit at your desk 8 hours, 10 hours a day, and you don't say I'm dysfunctional. You say I'm unfit because I'm sitting here and I'm sedentary. So this dysfunctional label, we need to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I like that for sure.
All right,
man.
last
That-
minute and a half that we have you here for the show for this week, for this time and this episode. Doc, well, wrap it up in a bow. Give
will.
us
If you-
the
Wrap,
fireworks.
wrap it up. Wrap it up. No pun intended.
Wrap it on.
But
Yeah,
Yeah.
put a ring on it. Come on, let's go.
wrap it on. And then again, super quick, if you could drop how folks get a hold of you. And I think there's a promo code or something like that as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. Basically, man, if you're over the age of 45 or 50 or younger and you have a problem, get your data. We don't treat all the healthcare problems without data. If I was taking care of a man with had a problem with his heart or his lungs or his kidneys or his bowels, I would get imaging studies, blood tests. You now can do the same thing for your sex to maintain your sexual fitness. And if you do have a problem, to figure out how bad it is and how to reverse course.
Mhm.
2, if you want to optimize your performance, open your mind up, put a ring on it. Rock harder, last longer, have more intense pleasure, and your partner's going to like it too. You can find us at myfirmtech, myfirmtech.com. And one other thing, get your testosterone level. Every man, your doctor's not going to offer it to you. You might have to pay for it, but it could save your life. Get your testosterone level.
Well, we can't say
That's
any better than that. We're gonna put you back on the schedule probably in 3 months. We'll have to have a quarterly with Doc because we need all this.
I'm gonna let you know, Doc, how my ring works after I get it.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I'm happy to, if you want to have me on again, people want to send in questions in advance, I'm happy to open up that kind of format.
Absolutely. Yeah. You definitely got 2 new customers and probably a whole lot more as soon as this episode gets out. So we thank you so much. We're definitely going to have you back on. And until next time, we are the Madmen of Masculinity, and we are out.